On that note, I got something for you guys. Hold on one second.
Oh, okay.
I know we're always talking about media and stuff and marketing, so
Damn.
brought a couple things for you guys.
Damn. He brought it. He brought the gear.
One for Josh. This is a timber hoodie.
Yo,
The
I
timber hoodie?
appreciate that.
Damn, that's
my
tight.
man.
And then we got one for Tim here.
Damn, shout outs. Thank you, brother.
Yeah,
That's
that's
beautiful.
just a way to show my appreciation.
Yeah.
Welcome to a brand new edition of It's All Relative. I'm Josh,
And I'm Timothy. What's good?
and today we're talking with a local businessman who's not only helping others build their dreams, but also designing his creative handprint to our world. The who, the how, the whys. You don't want to miss it, so turn it up and get ready for an all-new episode right here on the It's All Relative podcast.
That's what's up. Love it.
So, Tim, what's good, my man? How you been?
I've been tired, man. It's been tiring. Looking at the news is not the best thing. I'm tired of all the Russia-Ukraine shit. You remember like 2 episodes ago I said that shit was going to pop off?
Mm-hmm.
That shit's popping off. So I got to stop doom scrolling on my Twitter because it's always like World War III or something's going to happen. Russia's doing something. Putin's doing something. So aside from that stress, I've been chilling.
Okay, well, what's the update involving the whole Russia-Ukraine?
Oh, shit. He losing. Russia is losing, bro.
Really?
Yeah, Ukraine is having the most guerrilla warfare you've ever seen. And it's interesting because you would think that Russia could just go in and just light up everything.
Mm-hmm.
But Ukrainians are fighting back. Slava Ukraini, I'm sorry that it's happening to you guys. You guys are awesome. They got people fleeing their country. They're a sovereign nation, but they're fighting. So shout outs to them. Anybody from Ukraine listening, shout outs to you. And I'm sorry it's happening. God bless you. Stay strong. And you guys are guys are cool.
For sure. Thoughts
Right.
and prayers out
Thoughts
there
and
for real.
prayers. Thoughts and prayers for real.
But Tim, you want to take this time to address our fans, family, friends, the world?
Yeah, so Tim, I have to take a step back from It's All Relative. I have to take a bit of a break and get my life in order because I have a lot of craziness going on in my life, and I haven't been putting 100% into It's All Relative. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I've been here, I've been active, but I know I could give like A+. And I feel like I've been given like C-, whether you believe it or not. But that's mainly because I just have like a lot of stuff going on. Ever since the pandemic happened, I haven't been actually employed. I've been just hustling, running, and making it happen on eBay, which is fine, but eBay doesn't pay throughout the year unless you're like really, really deep into it and making good sales.
Right.
So with that said, I'm having some bit of a hard time more recently. So I have to like start looking at maybe getting an actual job or maybe just going real heavy with eBay. And because of that, I can't really do much of anything else right now at this moment, which includes the podcast, which is sad to say. I love you guys, and I would never take it away. I love a lot of the episodes. I'm like one of the biggest watchers of my own podcast, of this podcast that we did together. And so it's really heartfelt to say that I got to take a step back, get myself in order. Once everything is solid and set, I can take a look at coming back. But in the meantime, I mean, I just have to let people know it is what it is.
Absolutely, bro.
Yeah.
I mean, we respect that for real.
Thanks, brother.
You know what I'm saying?
Appreciate that.
We've done well. It's carried, you know
Right.
what I'm saying, since the beginning.
It really has.
And, we have created a bond with our fans and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
They enjoy listening to our content. And, I'm sure they're going to miss you.
Right.
As
Thank
will
you.
I, bro.
Thank you,
So,
brother. I'll still be listening. I'm probably going to ask questions. Since none of you people out there didn't want to ask any questions I'm going to be the one to ask questions.
There you go.
Yeah, so there you go.
But all right, we're gonna kill this last one together then, bro.
Yes, sir.
So,
Let's do it.
let's get into today's topic. You excited?
I'm excited.
All right. Let's get our guest on. He's an entrepreneur, businessman, leader of a team that got his business on the up and up. This man's visions are going to surpass all expectations. Ladies and gentlemen, Jeff Wigman.
Welcome.
What's up?
What's
What's up,
good?
guys? Thanks for having me.
Absolutely, my man. We appreciate you coming on, giving us some of your time, and agreeing to come on. It's all relative.
For real.
Absolutely. And I just want to second that, Tim, and say that shouts out Ukraine. Hope they fight Russia to a standstill.
For real.
Our hearts are broken.
For real.
But they're doing well. And I actually saw a video the other day of a crew of like 4 guys in a sedan bumping Fat Joe with rifles and just
respect.
like
Okay.
turning up. And I was
That's
like,
dope.
For real.
I was like, keep fucking going.
Keep
You know what
fucking
I mean?
going. They have to, man. I mean, it's sad that we smiling and we like talking it up, but motherfuckers is actually getting bombed. Like, imagine somebody like coming into your country, that your country has been sovereign for 30 years since we were probably kids or not even born yet, and another country just comes in and just starts blowing shit up.
Can't imagine.
Can't imagine. It's crazy. So, I mean, when I my bad. I just wanted to say it one last time, but when I think about it, it's just like it's just fucking crazy. Like, people that you've known and played with, the next day they just get blown to smithereens and shit.
Tragedy.
And it's tragedy. It's really tragic shit. So I don't know, man. I hope not only do that, I hope that they win. I hope that they just drive Russia out, because for the world, that just shows that Russia just fucked up. Putin fucked up. And maybe one day they're gonna, like, one of his top lieutenants is gonna come in and just put him at gunpoint and be like, "You're done." You know what I mean?
It'd be great if somebody just went in there and assassinated him. Like, if that was Israel with the Mossad, the way that they operate, he would have already,
for real,
he'd be, I don't know,
he would have been done. They would have been taking it out, and they would have played like Swan Lake. I don't know if you know about the regime changes in Russia, but back then when they did a regime change, they would play Swan Lake, like the whole ballerina thing, on live television. Meanwhile, they just get rid of the other person that was there, the other Tsar.
Changing of the guard.
Change it literally by force.
Yep.
So, yeah, hope so. Hope so.
And we just met, but, best of luck on your next journey. And,
thank you, brother. Appreciate that.
I love the podcast. That's why I came on.
Thank you.
You guys are a great team. And
Appreciate it.
And I respect, always getting settled in life and, kind of getting grounded and approaching the next phase. So best of luck, my dude.
Appreciate
Hope
that.
it goes well.
Appreciate that, brother.
Hope to see you back.
Thank you.
Yeah, definitely. But
yes, sir.
All right, let's give this man his flowers now. All right, so
my bad.
Talk to us real quick, bro. Timber Design and Build.
Yep.
The Timber Team.
Yeah, how'd the name come about?
The name came about actually. A friend of mine, a mentor of mine named Chris Rawl. I had broke off from a family business last year in November, so about a year and a half ago.
Okay.
It was a custom cabinet business that my dad owned. We were kind of working together for over a decade and doing custom kitchens, custom furniture.
Okay.
And we can get into that, but that business in itself is a very difficult business. The margin for error is extremely low.
Okay.
It's like brain surgery when as far as like the margin. So I decided to get into remodeling. I talked to him. We were talking about all different names, and he honestly came up with it. He's like, I like the name timber. We do a lot of work with wood. We do a lot of timber framing, homes.
Okay.
And then we really also are both design and build. Okay. So, that was kind of how it came about. We kind of collaborated, but I do give the props to him. I give him props all the time on that name. Chris came up with the name Timber Design and Build.
Chris, all right.
Shout out. We had actually spoken about being partners at the time, but partnerships are tough, man. We talked about it, getting into it together and getting the contracts together. And what happens is when you sit down to write a contract for a partnership, you start to look at words like when we split up, if somebody dies, what does their wife get?
Damn.
Like all this stuff. And we're like, we like each other so much. We're brothers. Like, and we're just creating this world right now in this contract that sounds like we're gonna effing hate each other.
Right.
So
that's crazy.
And then there were some assets involved. Like he had certain assets, and it becomes extremely complicated. So we're still basically we work together all the time, just in our separate entities. But Chris did come up with the name.
It's a dope name.
That is a dope name.
It works well.
When did you start the company?
The company officially jumped off in March of 2021.
2021. Okay.
So it's only a year old.
All right.
I mean, I've been renovating houses for like probably about 10 years.
Okay.
My dad used to buy houses at foreclosure, like big pieces of shit.
Right.
And we would go in there and just touch everything.
Okay.
And I fell in love with it. But being a new company has had its challenges.
Okay.
Like
Absolutely.
if you go for lending, if you want to get money, if people ask you like, what's your resume, how long you've been in business, and you say a year,
they don't want to hear it.
It comes with its challenges.
It's tough to get a loan, my man.
Yeah, it
You
is.
know what I'm saying?
It is. I mean, even the other day, we're expanding, so we're looking at an office space potentially, and
Office space, okay.
Again, to get a commercial loan,
I feel you.
like they want 3 years of tax returns.
Right,
we
right.
don't have it. So
Right. So are you billed as an LLC?
I am billed as an LLC.
Okay.
That's how we were formed. However, once you start getting employees, which currently we have 5,
Okay.
they want you to kind of, like, the accountant recommends transferring to a corporation.
Okay.
For a number of tax reasons that I don't fully understand.
Right.
But also, as the owner, I can take a payroll under a corporation. Like, I
can.
can take, a payroll and pay Social Security tax, and as opposed to an LLC, which basically is run on just like a draw. If I need money, I draw it out.
Right.
I got to save my own tax money.
Right.
So there is benefits to taking a
crazy.
payroll and having it, regimented week by week.
Okay.
Like everybody else. So it's an LLC, but filing as a corporation.
As a corporation,
Yeah.
I feel it.
Now, you mentioned real quickly that you said you have 5 people on the team
Yes. Yep.
currently. You planning on to expand?
It's a good question, Josh. I mean, I've hired and fired a couple guys over this last year. I love expansion. I'm all about it. I dream of expansion, but when it comes to in-house employees, there's obviously difficulties with that.
Very true.
Let's take insurance, for example, like workman's comp insurance, right? I pay 11% for every. So I pay $11,000 for every $100,000 of payroll.
Damn.
For in-house employees. So let's say I hire somebody.
wild.
Yeah.
Let's say I hire somebody for $50,000, right? I'm immediately tacking on $5,500 in workman's comp insurance for that one employee.
Oh, wow.
So that's there's real costs involved in in-house employees. So to make a long story short, I'm happy with the team that we have.
Perfect.
A super strong core, and I think that I'm looking now to kind of expand with subcontractors and build around that. Where if I have work, they're ready to rock.
All right.
But once you get into 10, 15, 20 employees,
It gets tough.
it gets tough. And
yeah.
if you have a slow period, you're paying huge payroll. So,
Right.
really to be determined where it goes in the end. But right now, I kind of leveled up. Like in the last few months, I was getting a new employee, new project manager. And now I'm like, all right, we got the core. We have a great team. Let's start here. Let's stay here.
Let's stay there.
And let's find the
Perfect.
subs to kind of come in and do their jobs.
Absolutely. That's the most important thing, man. You got a solid core and good team.
And a solid plan, too.
Why break it up? Why
Yeah.
add to it? Let's keep it going.
And we are losing one guy, Joey. He's like a master carpenter. He's from Long Island. He started building.
Long Island, too.
Yeah. So he's blue collar.
God bless him.
He started building pianos at Steinway.
Jesus Christ.
So high-end,
High-end,
curved stuff,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
Really
yeah.
high-end finishing, like that
Jesus.
5-coat poly at the end.
Wow. God
And
bless.
then he came up. He lives in Pine Bush, and I've known him for a couple of years. And he's, so we are losing him. He's moving down to Tennessee in a month, and
Oh, man.
we're always talking.
You
all right,
retiring?
no, he just doesn't like New York.
Okay.
Taxes.
Okay.
Understandable.
Understandable.
So and some other things, but so again, that's going to be a question: is what happens when he leaves? Because he's a great carpenter, and we'll figure it out as we always do.
All right. That's what's up. I was going to ask you a quick question. You were saying that you were thinking about subcontracting.
Yep.
Do you know of how do they need to be bonded or anything like that as far as for work and everything?
I don't think technically bonded.
I don't know if that's the right term.
No, I
either.
mean it's a good term because there is bonding. You know,
Okay.
so for example, I've had to get bonding for my permits. As far as if to do work in certain counties, like Putnam County, I had to take out a bond. $25,000.
25, okay.
And go that route. But what they need, the only specification that they need is insurances.
Okay.
And then, workman's comp liability.
Right.
Otherwise, I'm paying on it, and I'm liable, which is so
Right.
we're trying to do our best. We've hired lawyers, accountants, trying to position ourselves to not be exposed.
Exposed.
Because
Damn,
it's
okay.
a dangerous
You gotta
game.
cover
Yeah.
your ass.
Cover our
For real.
ass, exactly.
Absolutely.
So, we really spent a lot of money just on getting set up the right way, which I think separates us. You know, a lot of guys, you know, cash only, you know, no insurance.
Yeah, no insurance.
You know, we're trying to not show the government. I'm the opposite.
God bless you.
I'm like, get me all the insurance, get me all the permits, get me all the documents, all the lawyers, and we're gonna do this the right way.
Shit, man, I was gonna say, man, he's taking all
He's
the
on
right
point.
steps. You are on point, my man. That's the best way to do it. You know, it's the safest route.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Obviously, there may be some complications or whatnot, but you've eliminated quite a few.
Quite a few of them.
Yeah,
You know?
and it's the long game. If you believe in yourself, you know, you're like, you know,
Absolutely.
and you're like, all right, if I can do this in this world, and I'm gonna be here in 20, 30 years, then let's get set up. You know,
My man.
Interesting. Did you get that mindset from your dad? I know you split off from him, but
Yeah.
did he have that mindset of like,
hell no.
no?
No,
Okay.
he's the opposite. He's super conservative. You know, he doesn't want to grow like that. You know,
Right.
So I think I've always been like, I spent some time in Manhattan growing up, around, you know, fast-paced, big
yeah.
money.
Right.
I've always had that in me to like be successful or try at least. So I've failed a lot in some startup businesses. Like, for example, the last one we did was my wife and I started a company called Brick and Ivy.
Brick and Ivy, okay.
Which is like I took the woodworking aspect that I do best, and we started to make, like a few years ago, like maybe even 8 years ago, like the succulents were popping off, like, you know, like the exotic plants. So we were making these beautiful planter boxes, engineering them with like waterproof liners and drainage, and, you know, and trying to grow a business that way. But that failed. You know, it didn't. The market wasn't there. The pricing wasn't there. They were way too hard to make.
Right.
I couldn't scale up. So to make a long story short, I've always tried to do something big and always try and like create a business. To be honest, this is the first time it's really working. You know, so I've failed a few times.
I respect that.
I respect it too.
Everybody fails, you know, in the beginning. As long as you're able to learn from that and grow,
Right.
which it seems like, shit, bro, you right on the right path.
You were rocking it, brother.
Yep.
Like, that's mad respect.
For
Like,
real,
you know what I'm
for real.
saying? That's dope. But where's the company located at? Where
Sure.
you guys?
So we're based in southern Ulster County.
Okay.
Shout out to Ulster.
Yeah, exactly. It's a great county.
It's a great county.
And really, it's the hub of a lot of this expansion and development.
Interesting.
People love Ulster County. I mean, there's other counties as well. But I'm in Walk Hill, you know,
Okay.
so right on the Walk Hill Gardner border,
Right.
which is where I was born and raised and came back. And so we don't have actually a hub right now. We're in the process of getting an office space, like I was saying, which we were looking at the buying route. Don't think that's going to happen, but I think we found a space that we're going to rent in Newburgh potentially. So, you know, but we'll travel all over, you know, probably like within an hour. Like we'll go out to Sullivan County.
Okay.
We'll go, you know, obviously Orange and Dutchess, Putnam. So pretty wide range. I won't go to the city anymore. I did a lot of work in the city growing up, but that commute is just killer.
It's killer, man.
Yeah.
I don't blame you at
It
all.
is long. I was going to ask
Yeah.
the demographic region that you're willing to take clients at,
Right.
but
Yeah.
you got a good circle right there that you're willing to cover.
It's a good circle. And like,
Yeah.
I mean, it's a beautiful, to me, it's a beautiful story. What has been happening, you know, since COVID, since the pandemic, when people were in the city, stuck in their apartments, looking for a place to go. They honestly picked Ulster County, Sullivan County, and they're taking these towns that were ignored, you know, and buying up cabins in the woods.
Yep.
And plots of land.
Lots of land.
And,
It's
and,
true.
and turning them into modern, awesome structures.
Very true.
And that's really what's driving this, you know, is making my business thrive is the pandemic and then the resurgence of upstate New York from the city people. And even people from LA, you know, in the Bay Area.
Wow.
I have clients that are like in Kingston, you know, from LA. And
From
I have,
LA,
you know,
Jesus.
clients in Napanock, which was like, dude, untouchable, you know, 5 years ago.
Right.
And now that's, you know, you have like a Tesla next to like the oldest pickup truck
The
you've
oldest
ever
pickup,
seen,
for real.
and then a Range Rover, and then a Beater. And it's
Right.
like, there's such a mix right now.
Right,
and
right.
And I love it.
And you're working for all of them. Yeah.
Exactly,
Nothing
yep.
wrong with that.
Nah.
No. I was going to ask you another question. I was going to ask, do you think this expansion, do you think it's going to change how certain regions in the Hudson Valley look? Do you think it's going to like evolve and be a little bit more modern? Because, you know, back at least in the Hudson Valley, it's a little bit slower paced.
Sure.
You know, people know their neighbors. People know, you know, the people at the corner store, the people at the grocery store. Do you think like this upward expansion is going to change that and make it a little bit more like New York City?
100%.
Okay.
I mean, so let's take a town like, I don't know if you guys are familiar with Accord or Kerhonkson, right?
I know
so,
Accord, yeah.
You know New Paltz, right? That's at the base, you know, of the Gunks Mountains right there, the Shawangunk Mountains. And you got the beautiful Mohonk Mountain House, the tower,
Yeah, it's
right?
Mohonk, yeah.
Right. So that's on the east side of the mountain. Get over to the west side, you got two towns, Accord and Kerhonkson, which again were untouchable, you know, 5-10 years ago. That's Rondout Valley. You know, you know, nobody wanted to live there. So now that land was dirt cheap. You could get 10, 20 acres for 50, 100 grand, right?
Damn.
Like, you know, in a couple years ago. So now these towns which had no main street, and in the case of Accord, I think it was pretty much
Dirt roads.
abandoned,
Yeah,
like
yeah.
the main street, like the post office, the bars, like anything was boarded up, gone.
Jesus.
And now they have gourmet coffee shops where you can get, you know, $4 cups of coffee and,
Right.
and croissants,
Right.
and they have farm-to-table restaurants. So absolutely, I mean, the towns are definitely changing. The demographics absolutely changing. I mean, the schools are going to be changing. The politics are going to be
for
changing.
sure, for
you know,
sure.
like all those towns were pretty conservative, and now you have this influx of like New York City liberal folks.
Right.
So, and there's even, I don't know if you guys have seen on Instagram, but like there's rallies in Woodstock from basically, there's like, you know, the old school, like dug in rednecks are like kind of, you know, who have some racism are like against, you know, the new wave, right?
Oh, of
people
course.
coming in. And then the new people coming in are like holding rallies basically saying, you know, anti-racist Catskills. We need to change the culture around here because
I'm all about it.
I'm all
too.
about it too.
Shout outs to it.
There's definitely a huge shift in all that, you know, all the culture that's happening.
That's good. That's good to hear. That's good to see.
Yeah.
Beautiful country out there.
It really
the
is.
mountains,
Stunning.
Absolutely. I can totally understand why people who previously lived in the city may want to come out for a little quiet.
Right.
And what
Right,
you
that
know, what
respite.
better place, man.
Right.
100%. And like, you know, before upstate New York really got going, it was, you know, the Hamptons, right? And Long Island. I mean, 30 years ago, that was untouched.
Right.
That was undeveloped. They were building the highway out east, right?
Right.
And then, you know, people were buying up swaths of land and building beach houses, and now it's untouchable.
Right.
Everything's millions. So that's why I think, you know, everyone was like, well, where do we go?
Right.
And then you look upstate and it's like, oh, for 100 grand, I get 20
You can get
acres
20
with a
acres.
babbling brook and,
Yeah.
and a barn.
Right.
And we can go up there and have fires and,
Right.
and play with our kids.
It's
And
a different
everything.
world.
different world. And
entirely.
it was very accessible, you know?
So let me ask you real quick. Let's focus on some of the jobs that you guys have done, the timber team. You got one that stands out for a good reason?
Well, here's the story of the timber team and the projects. I mean, when it first started, so again, it's a year old, it was just me, right?
Damn.
I was doing everything.
Okay, walk us through it.
You know, I was doing everything from getting the job to going there, picking up material, building stuff, you know, all the way through finishing touches.
Damn.
So those projects were like, you know, single bathroom renos, you know, laundry room renos, you know, kitchen here and there, some custom cabinetry. So those jobs don't stand out to me so much because, you know, they're just in the same vein, you know, just single jobs, you know, but we're, you know, so in November of last year, so I guess 5 months ago, we landed 2 huge jobs that really set this thing off. We landed a job in Bombville, New York,
Okay.
and we landed a job in Walden in Orange County. So both in Orange County, and they were full house renos.
Nice.
Very nice.
And that means that we go in and we're there for in these 2 cases about 6 months.
Okay.
And we're gutting everything, and we're and you know, there's 2 bathrooms, there's a kitchen, there's floors, trim, doors, windows,
Takes
roof,
time.
siding.
Right.
It takes time, but it really puts you on the map too. You know, it took me from, all right, Jeff can build a kitchen, to like timber does whole house
Whole
rentals.
houses, tear down everything.
That's awesome.
So those projects to me stand out, right? But we're still in the middle of those. Like those are supposed to wrap up in May.
Okay.
So, you know, we don't have finished photos of that. I have been documenting the progress there, you know, on Instagram and YouTube. But so it's really the whole house rentals that to me speak to my heart, you know, and stand out as like, that's what our bread and butter is. That's what we're best at, you know. And we've got some more lined up, like starting, I guess in April, we got 2 more big ones coming up. One in Jeffersonville, another Sullivan County town.
That was
you
all
know,
over.
that was on, you know, that, you know, this is a cool girl from Brooklyn in advertising.
Okay.
Coming up, you know, she wants to spend some time in the Catskills, so that's that. And then another one in a small town from Napanock, again, like a whole house, you know, full gut from the siding, you know, in new roof, new siding, and then everything getting torn out.
Jesus.
And we're going to rerun all the wiring, all the plumbing, insulate, and build it back out. So those type of jobs to me stand out. And then, you know, we're always getting hit up for more of that type of work. I mean, you know, the level of houses are going up, you know, so like, for example, the Walden house, let's call that, you know, a $300,000 house that they're putting a couple hundred into. The Bombville house in Newburgh, that's like an $800,000 house that they're putting like $600,000 into.
Right.
So it'll be like 1.5.
Jesus.
But, you know, we're starting to see people like reach out to us, you know, okay, we just bought a house for 2.5, you know, we want to put $1 million into it.
Damn.
And
Jesus.
And so like, you know, we're seeing, and we're seeing like the growth, of our business, you know, from the laundry room and the bathroom to the whole house, and then the quality of the house is going up.
So I got a side question for you. How do you feel now that you've evolved from just doing like little bitty projects to people moving 100,000, 500,000, million? Do you feel the same way? Does it feel intimidating that you're starting to have bigger and larger contracts? Does that give you any anxiety?
I mean, definitely anxiety. I had to stop smoking weed like a month ago because I was getting like real anxiety, especially with employees and projects and deadlines. I was like, I'm starting to literally feel anxious 24/7. Like, and I've never been that much of an anxious person. So I felt that coming on, and I just said, all right, you know what? Let me get my life. You know, like I love this business so much that let me do everything I can to set ourselves up for success.
100%.
So
100%.
I don't feel
It shows heart.
Yeah.
Good for you, bro.
It shows a lot of heart.
Yeah, because I love weed and I love the culture. So it was super difficult, but but everything's working out well, you know, and it had to be done, just like I said, to keep this thing, you know, I felt, especially when you have employees, you feel responsible for them. You're like, all right, if I screw this up, you know, and I have to lay them off, that's not a good look.
No.
You know, and I could be letting them down.
It's an added pressure.
Yeah, it's a big pressure.
It's cool being the boss, being the leader, whatnot. But like the added pressures, like we had just said, it does cause a little extra stress.
It does.
I feel it.
It does, and I think it's been I can handle stress. I can handle pressure. I mean, I'm not like super thick-skinned. You know, I still deal with issues with confrontation and subs and try and navigate that.
Right.
But I think the biggest thing is for me to not like add too much stress and pressure is going to be don't overbook ourselves.
Okay.
Like I'm so ambitious with this that I could be like, oh yeah, we could do that in April, and we could do that in April, and maybe we can get one more in April.
Right.
And my team is like, dude, you gotta like start pushing these people out. But I'm like, nah, I see a way, you know. So I just gotta kind of, you know. But we're starting to find our rhythm as far as, all right, we got big ones, and we can schedule the next one to start a month from now, and I'm starting to feel my mental and physical world start to kind of just gel.
Okay.
And not be overstressed.
Right. So has it been, let me just ask this one then. Has it been more, since you had a scheduling conflict, has it been more of the pacing? Like, have you been just trying to like be consistent with getting them out there and getting them done? Or has it just been that you just given yourself too much in 1 month to do?
It's a good question. I mean, what I find the hardest part of this is like, so as the business owner, right, you've got everything from the sales aspect, right? So someone calls me and says, I'm interested in this, I need this, right? You got phone calls, emails, site visits.
Damn.
Then you
That's
got to then you got to price everything out. Hours and hours to come up with a proposal that you can stand behind, right? Because that's like once you send out that proposal, that's
Set in
it.
ink.
It's set in ink. So like you want to make sure you're not like losing money, you know, and being like, you know, so it has to be well thought out, right? So that's like in a perfect world, I would just be doing that all day.
Okay.
Like running the business. However, I'm finding myself, you know, I put in doors, I put in trim, I put in cabinets, I
Right.
build stuff.
Right.
So it's like, and then you have 3 or 4 jobs like Walden, Bombville. I got one in Cold Spring that's a kitchen renovation going on right now. I'm doing a bathroom in Chester. So we have like 4 or 5 jobs going. So then you're like, all right, I got subcontractors over there installing windows. I got this guy painting over there.
Damn.
I got to get material over there in Chester. And then you're running around and then like
So the logistics of it all.
logistics. And then you like show up to one site and you're like, no, that wasn't what I wanted, you know?
Jesus.
So that happened the other day. Like the guy, you know, he put in some windows and it was my bad. Like I didn't prep him for success the way I should have.
Okay.
And I wasn't on site to communicate what I needed to communicate.
Right.
And therefore, you know, but it wasn't a big deal. You know, it got fixed. But, you know, it's just like that's the challenge is like as you spread out, how do you set people up for success with what's the standard? What do you need from me? And I think like finding that interface is the key, which I'm working on a daily basis.
Okay. Well, talking like that, you about to be successful for real.
Yeah, I was gonna say,
Yeah,
bro,
I'll try.
you building character with
For
that
real.
too. You know what I'm saying? And eventually, like you said, like as it expands and whatnot, you know, you'll be able to sit and do what you want to
relax.
do.
Yeah.
You know, the pressures of everything, everything should fall into place. I mean, the whole entire game plan, your whole layout, everything. I mean,
Everything.
I'm fucking impressed.
Me
Nah,
too.
I
You know
appreciate
what I'm
it. And
saying?
I think you're right. It will but we're still like in the throes of the grind. you know?
Absolutely, absolutely. But I mean, from an outside person looking in, I mean, it looks like everything you've taken the right route.
I
You know
appreciate
what I'm
that, Josh.
saying?
Thank you.
So
For
real.
absolutely.
Yeah.
And I wish the
Well,
same
thank
for
you.
you on the podcast. You know, I feel like we're kind of in a similar time in our careers.
Right.
Yeah.
And you know, and I think I have the same vision for you. I think you're doing everything right, guys.
He's
and
gonna go far.
he's gonna go super far,
He's gonna
man.
go super far.
So right back at you.
Yeah.
I appreciate
And
that.
also, I find something funny because, you know, I'm not necessarily like a businessman, but I know both of you are. And I see a lot of similarities that you need for business. Like, you got to, if something needs to be done, it needs to be done right then and there because time is still going, you know. And if you don't make this move, you don't make the money that you made from this, or you have to like make sure something is here or something is there. And despite it all, that's just what business is all about. And it's something that I'm starting to learn, and you just have to, it's like a growing experience. It's what separates people that are leaders from people that are just workers. And if it's okay to be a worker, but if you need to be a leader, you need to be that person to wake up at 6 o'clock, and you got to manage this person. You got to be able to let that guy go because he wasn't doing what he was supposed to be doing.
Yep.
And you also should be able to answer for any issues. Like you immediately said, like, you didn't set him up for success. I never hear that from anybody.
Right.
And for a person that has like other people working under them, they never take the responsibility for not setting somebody up the right way, or at least the way you want it to be.
Yep.
And that's some powerful stuff, bro. So easily I can just look at you and say, yeah, you're gonna be successful.
Yeah, that's
easily.
what separates a leader from a boss.
From a boss.
You know what
Exactly,
I'm saying?
exactly.
No boss is gonna be real like that and
No.
be like, you know, take responsibility of
No, of course not.
one of their team members' fuck ups. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? A leader, absolutely.
Leader
You know
versus
what I'm
boss,
saying?
Nah, that means a lot, guys. It
No,
does.
for real.
Because that's the thing. Really, as much as I like the growth, I also value the relationships,
Right.
the team.
Right.
Like at the end of the day, in like 30 years, like whatever, after this is all said and done, like I want to be remembered as somebody who like was caring and like created happiness, you know, and not
Absolutely.
just like, you know, the growth is great, but it's like, I'm actually more interested in that aspect, just like
For
making
real.
sure people are well cared for and that they come up as well and like, you know, and support them. Like I've had bosses that are like just hard on me, like, oh, you broke that, like what the fuck, like
Right,
and
right,
like
right.
like flipping, and
Flipping out
I
for
feel
no
like
reason.
I'm this big,
Yeah.
Right.
and I'm like, so that's really like I never want to create that, you know. And I've had a couple moments, right, where you're like frustrated, but it's like the last thing I want to do. So I'll even put that above money. You know,
Damn, God
Yeah,
bless.
absolutely.
God bless for real.
Yep.
So let me ask you real quick then, bro. When you guys are renovating these houses, what's one of the most common setbacks that you guys have faced so far, if any?
Yeah, no, it's a good question. I mean, there's always, so I think the biggest setback that I'm finding is like the unforeseen prep work that goes in to start to bring the finishes back the other way.
Damn.
So for example, like you'll go in there, you'll gut a house. The electricians and plumbers come in and do their thing, right? And then the insulation goes in, and then and then once you're roughed in, right, you then can board up. But it's like to do high quality finishes, I always assume like, all right, we'll take the drywall off, we'll do our thing, and then we'll put the new drywall back up.
Right.
But it's like you don't know what the framing was like, and like the situation always seems to be different than what I expect. So I find myself like basically rebuilding a lot of like ceilings and walls, and just being like, this is not going to be acceptable.
Okay.
So there has been a couple times where we're like in the middle of it, like, or we're like, oh, the flooring guy will come in, and then we'll be like, all right, there's a huge hump there from, the deck that was built wrong.
Damn.
And it's pushing it. So, all right, so now we got to rip stuff up, plane down boards. And it's like, so I think it's like the structural stuff for me.
Right. You're very caring then, because some people don't even care. Like, all right, let's finish it up. Let's go.
That's the thing.
Right.
I think that's what's also people see is like the quality is like top notch. And we like, we'll call the client like, look, there's a huge hump. Like, what are we doing here? It's going to cost X. But I think that seems to be on these big projects. Like we have such a hard time just like covering up anything that it's like we're basically touching everything all the time. And it's like, honestly, the material lead times and the pricing spikes, it is what it is. I mean, the customers are paying for it, at the end of the day. Like, and that's an issue for construction as a whole.
Right.
But it hasn't affected me where I'm like, I can't get windows for 6 months. Like,
Right.
Some guys have said that. It hasn't happened to us. I think we're
Nice.
pretty good at planning, and I mean, and knowing what we can get. And so, what we're really trying to do now to avoid any issues like that is to, like, let's say we're starting a full gut reno. And the longest lead time item is the windows, let's say at 3 months.
3 months.
So
Ooh.
we'll order those and then we'll say, let's start the demo like a couple weeks before they come.
Okay.
So that we're not, going in next week, even though I would love to get the deposit. I'd love to go in there and start ripping stuff out. Right. But then you're gone for 6 weeks and people get upset by that. Where's the progress? So I'm trying to learn, how to structure these jobs, schedule these jobs so that like, all right, order the long lead time stuff, get them here, and then get going hard, so that you don't run into like, where's my stuff?
Where's your stuff? Right.
What's the average price of timber right now? Is that shit high?
Of lumber?
Yeah.
I mean, so it spiked during COVID. Like a 2x4 went from like $3 to $9. So like,
Okay.
so like,
Damn,
so
that
like,
is high.
so like
That was pretty
300%, right? I mean, someone just, one of our project managers and is GCing a house in Marlboro, and I think that lumber for that house, which is like, gosh, I want to say, somewhere in the high, 1900 square foot house.
Okay.
I want to say that lumber for that was like $77,000 for like
$77,000
for like lumber and sheathing and stuff, like
Okay.
the framing order, which is insane to me.
Yeah.
I mean, you used to be able to, and the house itself is going to cost like $700,000, but like that same house like 10 years ago was like $300,000.
Yeah. Wow.
So it's like, I don't know if it's a combination of inflation, which is real, right? I mean,
for sure.
everyone's getting paid more, everyone's spending more.
Right. You said a lot of people coming on in too, and they got money over there.
Yeah. Yep.
From the city. Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know. I mean, at the end of the day, I don't see it going. And then to answer your question, Josh, it leveled off. It went back down a couple bucks. And now our suppliers are telling us that it's going back up. So what I did was in this, I mentioned the lawyers earlier in the contracts, and that's only to like protect us and the customer, right? So one of the clauses in there is basically if material goes up more than 10% from the time that they sign the contract, then they'll cover anything over 10%, right? So
Very interesting.
I'll cover
Okay.
10%, and then they'll cover the excess. And like,
Excess.
I had a friend who built a house in New Paltz who who ran into this issue. He signed on pre-COVID, and then it started right after COVID during the spike,
sucks.
and there was nothing in the contract that said anything.
Right, anything, yeah.
So
'cause who would have thought?
So
Yeah.
the builder had to eat it, right? It was on him. He had given a fixed price, and then but it created all types of animosity.
Yeah.
Damn.
Like from then on out, from day one, they were like he was pissed because he had to eat all this lumber increase.
Right.
He tried to get it back other ways, and it was just like a constant battle. So I'm not saying that we're going to be without drama or without trouble, but I'm doing my best to prepare myself for and prep and educate myself
The responsibility to bring.
on the potential
Yeah, good for you.
pitfalls of this business.
So I do have another question. And when it comes to lumber, at least, can you deal with somebody that cuts down their own trees and produces their own lumber? Is that something that you're willing to work with?
I like the way you think. I mean, I think that so when it comes to lumber, it's got to be dry.
It's dry?
So
Okay.
if you cut a tree down in your backyard right now and you mill it, that would be called green.
Green, okay.
So it's basically wet.
Right.
And some people, when they build like timber framed houses,
Uh-huh.
you can build a house with green lumber. You just got to know like it's going to crack. And shrink. And
bulge
kind of.
and everything.
But
Yeah, I feel you.
but like I've heard of guys who will who they'll go into a forest, cut down a bunch of trees, keep them in the shade, and literally build the house with green timbers.
Interesting.
I've never done it. I mean, I think it's like, and so we're always, we're looking for kiln dried wood,
Okay.
And dried stuff, and there's even moisture meters if with flooring, like if you want to know like what's going on with stuff. So I think, but to answer your question too, like I've cut down cherry trees and milled them and put them in a barn for a couple of years.
Okay.
And then use that for furniture.
Oh, I feel you.
So,
Okay.
if somebody's tree falls down and thinks it's a maple or an oak or cherry and you think it's a great piece or has like really cool detail and want to get it milled, totally. I think that's a cool story.
Okay.
Yeah.
Absolutely. What's the most common question that you're asked when someone's looking to do renovations?
So, I mean, a common question is, what's your process like? Everybody wants to know what the process is like, which I think makes me believe that, a lot of first-time renovators, first-time home buyers, and they have no idea even like how to get started.
Right.
So I walk them through it. Like I mentioned earlier, I mean, our process looks like this. They'll say, I need a bathroom or a kitchen, to avoid going out for the full day and burning a day on the road that's unpaid. I'll say, all right, send me pictures, send me details. Then I'll try and provide a ballpark estimate based on that. Okay, say, look, this kitchen looks like $60,000, Does this fit into your budget? If they say yes, then I say, all right, well, let's schedule a site visit. Again, unpaid. So there's a lot of time that goes into this on my end. I'll go there. We'll walk through. What are you guys looking for? So you're doing the floors. Do you guys have really elaborate taste on cabinetry? Are you guys looking for crazy pullouts? Like,
Damn,
you're looking for
okay.
customer stock and start to kind of develop it that way.
Right.
And then, so I'll just walk them through this process on the phone. Like I'll tell them, so it's phone, email, ballpark estimate, then site visit. Then we put together a proposal, tweak, and then, and then contract signing. I mean, another question that I've gotten is, again, what are your references? Like for that Bombville job, I spent like a month or two on this, just getting to a point of contract.
The contract, Jesus.
And I had to have multiple phone calls. I had to provide references on houses that I renovated, homeowners. He checked them all.
Damn.
So that's a common question. People want to vet you. I think people have had, again, I don't come from a world where there's like bad contractors and like shitty people, but I guess they're out there.
Bro.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like,
they are.
because I feel like you can hear it in people's voices when they're scarred. Like, I got to check out all your references,
Bro, trust.
So
I've come from a place where I know people that do renovating and stuff. They don't do any of the contract shit. They just say, all right, let me come in. It'll be this much. I'll be here on Thursday. And, from there, they either get it done or they don't. Sometimes it works. Usually it doesn't. And then there's like the animosity there.
Right.
But if they're vetting the hell out of you like that, and I mean, there's big money coming through. So I would vet if it had big money.
exactly. It's understandable,
Yeah.
For sure.
But for sure, I haven't seen that up until hearing you.
Yep.
Yeah. So bro,
Yeah.
you were pretty good with it.
Yeah. Thank you, Tim.
No problem, brother. But it's really cool to see. It's really cool to see.
Yeah, it's a crazy world out there. I mean, I think people, like I said, have gotten probably taken advantage of, and people have dropped the ball on things. And so you're dealing with, like you said, big money, a sacred aspect, you know, the home, right?
Right.
It's like that's where your family's going to be.
Right.
So we put all this, like, it could be your retirement, you know, it's in that home.
Your future's there.
Your future's there. Nah, you're
Yeah.
good. So it's like, I don't have a problem with that at all. I'll hold their hand. I'll walk them through it. I'll give them everything that they want. And I'll take a loss. I'll take a money loss to get through a project successfully without burning a bridge. Happens all the time.
Okay.
Like I care about quality so much. Like even, for example, I'm doing a bathroom in Chester right now, right? Underbid it. And so like the plumbing aspect alone was, so for the rough and finish plumbing was like 7 G's.
Okay.
A lot of money
yeah.
for a small bathroom, you know? So I was like, damn, I'm already taking a huge hit up front there, you know? And then, but at each step of the way, like a shower has what's called a curb, right? That's what you step over to get into the shower. It's what the glass sits on. So the curb detail, the window detail, I'm like, let's use stone on the curb. You know, and the homeowner's like, let's tile it. I'm like, nah, it'll look like shit. Like, and like, but like, I'm not going to be like, you know, that's not in me. I'm like, we're going to do a nice curve for you.
Way.
Like, because that was already in my mind.
That's the experience.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, and I don't know. So on that job, I've already chalked it up. I'm like, we're breaking even on that job, but the customer's going to be happy. It'll be a perfect bathroom. So I think that's why people feel good, you know, with us is like, they know that we're in there, and like quality. we're taking the right decision at every step.
Absolutely. Honestly, that's the best. You know, it sucks to have to take a loss,
right?
But you're thinking about the future, because I'd rather take a loss than have that person, you know what I'm saying, know that, you know, they liked what we did. Anytime in the future, they're gonna come and if they need something else done, or someone else that they know,
right.
you know, they're gonna, you know, I'd rather take that than. You know what I'm saying?
Nah, Josh, that's it. It's the long game, right?
Yep, absolutely. Absolutely. Is there a most popular, or we can go back to saying most common room that people prefer or always ask to get renovated?
Good question.
It is a good question. I think it's the bathrooms.
Bathroom.
Yeah, I used to think it was going to be the kitchens.
Right.
I was like, that's going to be our bread and butter. But it's the bathrooms.
Bathrooms, that's crazy.
I'm guessing you've seen a lot of crazy stuff when you're ripping down the bathrooms.
Yeah,
huh?
big time.
Jesus.
Yeah. You know, we're filming a video right now for that Chester bathroom where we exposed a bunch of rot. They had 2 shower heads in there.
Damn.
Or maybe even 3, I think.
3 shower heads?
And it was just like saturating everything. So we pulled it out.
Shit.
Basically had to rebuild, you know, what was behind it. So, but I think it's the bathrooms. I think that's the common thing. Because I think people, you know, when they buy these homes and they're living in there, I don't know. It's like they don't want to be bathing and hanging in, you know, somebody else's old stuff.
Right.
You know,
right.
whereas the kitchen, they can get away. It seems to be it's bathroom and then maybe kitchen down the road.
Okay.
Yeah.
And bathrooms are my least favorite spot in the house to be at. And it's a little ski. I understand, like, if you know what I'm saying.
Yep.
The thought of, you know, other people lived here, they did what they did and shit.
Right.
in
Right.
there.
Right.
Nah, fuck it. Let's just do
Tear
a
it
new
all
one.
down.
You know?
Exactly.
So
And the style too and taste has probably changed so much from over
Very
the like
true.
so like what's big now is walk-in showers, right? With what they call frameless glass. So like
Frameless
everybody's
glass.
seeing like these walk-in showers with, you know, full tile walls,
Right.
tile shower pan, frameless glass, and it's like anything less is like to them is like we need an updated bathroom.
Right.
So
I want to get back to on some of that stuff when we come back from break that you just mentioned.
For sure.
Let's take a quick break.
Let's
all
take
right?
it.
sounds good.
Gotcha.
And when we come back, we'll be talking finished jobs, future plans. Get used to the name Timber Design and Build, and make sure you come back with us right here on the It's All Relative podcast.
In the game now, shit's the same now. Explode next mode. I'm the same how. Don't say you know me, just say you did. When you see me sliding off to another crib, boom in the game now. I'm the same how. The rap game will never be the same now. Don't say you know me, just say you did. When you hear YO, say that's that Craftsmanship.
Welcome back to It's All Relative. Still with us in studio, Jeff Wigman. Now, I've been able to see some of your finished work, okay?
Yep.
Excellent video content on YouTube, and we will get back to that for sure. But I want to first focus on the work that's inside the videos, you know, the work that you guys created.
Sure.
All right. So take me back. Talk to me about the house in Gardner that you did, because I watched the video,
Yep.
right? There were a few things that stood out to me that I thought were super dope. So talk to me about that
Sure.
experience.
So that's a great project. I consider that project one of the ones that put us on the map.
Okay. It was the big one.
It kind of transitioned us from kitchen and bath individually to the whole house reno. So that was, I think, 1,100 square feet in Gardner, right kind of in the gunks. It was in the mountains. And a company that owns 3 or 4 Airbnbs in the area hired us to do the full reno. So it was 2 bathrooms, a kitchen, paint. I redid the fireplace, floors stayed. So that was kind of the scope, was the 2 baths, a kitchen, the fireplace.
Okay.
And new electric throughout,
New electric. Got it.
but we didn't touch the floors. So really cool project, great designer. You know, so I love working with great designers because they're always pushing the envelope. So she was doing cool things like in that shower that's got the pink tile. Josh, I don't know if you saw that, but it's got a really cool drain system called the linear drain. So, and it's also tileable. So what that means is basically, you know, in your typical shower, the drain's in the center, right? Something around 4 inches.
Okay.
So in this case, and that's because in a shower pan, you got everything pitching towards the center. Like it's pitched on purpose. In this case, there was a single pitch going down to one of the edges, and then the linear drain is just a cool look because you can put it on the edge of a wall, and then instead of like a big piece of metal, you actually cut tile into it. So when you're in the shower, it just looks almost like a solid tile floor with just kind of this black perimeter that the water goes down into and then seeps into a drain.
Through. Interesting.
So some cool, like some great shower work in there, honestly.
Yeah, that had I had it written down. That had the curbless floor.
Correct.
To the shower.
That's another one.
That's what I thought was dope because I mean, for me, you know, I don't have it like that.
Yeah.
So when I get into the shower, I still got to take that step. You know what I'm saying? This bathroom. Did you see the video?
No, I didn't.
Just.
Oh wait, or maybe I didn't see it clearly, but yeah.
And that's a good point, Josh. I mean, the curbless shower, you know, also referred to as zero entry, is a luxury item, and here's why. So to get that, there's 2 options. One, you have to, when you get the shower pan, which is like thin at this point, right? I'm buying like a system called Schluter, you know, and that's like a state-of-the-art German system. So the shower pan is thin, and to get it to the height of the other flooring around it, where it's like the same, you got to typically cut down the joists. You know, so you're taking up subfloor, you're cutting down joists, then you're resetting subfloor, and then the pan in so that it's the same height as the bathroom subfloor. That's option 1. Option 2 is if you have it, you can not do that. Just set it on the subfloor and then build up the rest of the bathroom to that height, right? But the problem there is you can get too tall. You know, so you walk in the bathroom and you got like a 3-inch step. Right? That's not cool.
Yeah.
So it's a lot more work, but it's also great for the elderly, you know, like you can just walk in, you can wheel in, you know, and so and then it's also just super duper luxury. I mean, you do have to waterproof a little bit, extend it into the bathroom. Sometimes with those, we'll just waterproof the whole bathroom floor and trim just because I'm like, all right, you know, they're
smart,
you know, the water's kind of just expected to get out of that. There's no curb, right? So, but that's a good eye, man. That's a lot of people ask that. But it definitely adds like several $1,000s to a shower floor. Also, because the curb allows for a transition, you know, where you don't have to, like, once you start bringing the shower pan and the bathroom floor into the same thing, it's like you got to be spot on, you know, with everything, with your prep, and it's just it's labor intensive. So it's definitely up there, you know, with the luxury items.
Between the 2 options, which one do you prefer? Or which one would you go with?
As the builder?
Yeah.
As the builder, I tend to steer people towards a curbed shower, just to stay on budget a little bit better.
Okay.
Again, to allow us to avoid kind of a really labor intensive prep situation. But
Right.
if they have the means and they want it, then I love doing it.
Okay.
It's just like it doesn't always it's expensive.
It's expensive.
Yeah. Yep.
Do you have like any people that you do work for that sometimes will go more for the aesthetics over just the functionality? Like, do you have people that really like just make my place beautiful? I don't, I know it's gonna work, but make it beautiful.
Yeah.
That's
no,
trusting.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
it's a great question. I mean, I have had people make those type of decisions.
Okay.
And I think you learn over time where you got to draw the line.
Okay.
You know what I mean? You're like, yeah, you want this, but like we can't sacrifice this.
Okay.
And you learn over your career like what's acceptable and where you would, put your foot down. Most people though, they want quality behind the walls.
Okay.
They want to know that what's there is fresh.
Right.
And
it'll last.
It'll last. And like I think, and like in the flip game, which I've never really done.
Okay.
That's where you start to get into like people just sticking stuff over bad stuff.
Right.
And they value the aesthetics over
everything.
else, in the budget. It's like I want nice stuff and I don't want to spend money. I don't care about anything else. Like I'm the opposite. So
Right.
which is what
I'm sorry to cut you
Yeah,
off. I was just
yeah.
gonna say that's one thing that fucking drives me crazy is
Yep.
I always stress on quality.
Quality for
Right.
real.
Quality.
Right.
Yeah.
Bottom line, I don't give a fuck what you're talking about.
Yep.
Should
Quality.
be good.
Because you want to be able to sleep at night too, right?
Right.
It's like,
Absolutely.
it's like, all right, we handled that corner the right way, and like we'll come in tomorrow, and yeah, it took us 4 hours, but like we're doing the right thing, and
Okay.
100%.
and it's in construction, it's like happens every day. But again, back to that point previously, it was like that's what separates us. That's what people are seeing in timber is
Right.
like these guys will not, just slap something up. They're gonna call me. They're gonna ask me. They're gonna fix it. They're
Right.
gonna make it right. They're gonna
Step by step.
Yep.
Yeah.
Exactly. So
That's awesome. Let me quickly remind all our listeners that all these videos are up on YouTube, so go subscribe, check them out, right? Timber
Yeah.
Design and Build.
Yep.
Talk to me real quick about the kitchen, because that was in the same building.
Yeah.
Super small, but you made that shit look good.
Yeah. It
for
was
sure.
beautiful.
I love the spice rack pullout. Right?
Yeah.
I thought that shit was a perfect location because that kitchen literally was like super
tiny.
small.
Yeah,
it was
super
tiny.
small.
I'm super proud of that kitchen. So when we walked in there, right, it was smaller than that, because they had the cabinets on both sides. I crept in a little bit. So part of the design was basically to just make the walkway like 6 inches bigger.
Okay.
Right. And if you watch the video, you'll see that the way that we achieved that was basically, a typical cabinet depth is 24 inches. So on one wall, we shrunk that down to 18 inches. So we bought 6 inches of walkway, and
Okay.
that's what created that space for that spice cabinet. That was a maple kitchen. Like one of the big looks that's come in the past few years is like this streamlined blonde Scandinavian look. It's like
Right,
very kind
right.
of like simple slab style. So that was kind of the look behind the kitchen. It was a stock kitchen from one of the companies that we source, and then we added some custom elements to kind of like end panels, and I made a little custom cabinet on the very end of that one. Yeah, it came out well. I mean, it came out
beautiful.
Yeah, no, it was great
Yeah,
work.
it was great.
For sure.
Yeah, thank you.
The now talk to me about the last bathroom, because that as well, super
Yep.
small, but it didn't look too small inside that shower.
Yeah.
Right.
No, good point.
Shower has space.
Tall ass tile.
Yep.
Yep.
Right. And which I was a huge fan about the skylight above it.
That's a cool
'Cause
feature.
Absolutely. I got skylights in my
Right,
house.
right,
I'm a
right.
big
I feel
fan.
Yeah.
So talk to me about that.
Yeah, for sure. So one of the things I'll point out is like when we go into these bathroom renos and we're talking about tile, I always like to suggest going up to the ceiling with the tile.
Okay.
Like, you know, when you walk into the houses that had been renovated in the 90s or early 2000s,
Right, they had
they
a little
always
cutoff.
stop,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And then there's like this much drywall.
Right.
You're just like, dang, why didn't you just go up to the ceiling? I mean,
Right.
they're trying to save money, I guess. But, you know, so in that case, Josh, like, we were like, let's go all the way up, you know, which was, I think, 10 feet.
Yeah, that shit
You
was
know?
high.
Yeah, it was high. And then it was on the angle. So super small bathroom. They went with a penny tile on the floor, which is a really difficult tile to work with, penny tile, because the tiles are like the size of a quarter. So you got to make sure your floor is prepped perfectly. Otherwise, they're sinking and the grout's cracking.
Interesting.
And then another thing I would point out about that bathroom, which you'll see in the video, they got this great pedestal sink that is like a tapered volume. And man, I'm doing a lot of those pedestal sinks these days, and people love them. They're streamlined, they're neat, they're small, but they're like hours more work to install, because like you got to get all the plumbing is like right here.
Right.
You know what I
Right.
mean? As opposed to the old school, like a cabinet.
Right.
Like
Where
you
you
open
fit
it
it
up
all
and you
in.
got everything in there
It's
hidden.
true.
You know, it's a regular layout. So like those things are floating in space. You got to get your plumbing dead on with the rough, and then basically the hookup is extremely difficult. So in that case, we actually, on the back side of that vanity is a closet for the bedroom, and we cut in like an access panel that we could kind of have as like shut-off valves and some little hookup space for our
that's dope.
hands.
Okay.
But that's I love that bathroom. And then again, it's got a curb. I think they wanted to go curbless, but I was like, in a bathroom that small with the door right there, you're risking a lot, you know?
Okay.
And then a frameless shower door with some black hardware, and those are two of my favorites so far, for sure.
Yeah, like we had mentioned, that was some great work.
It was the work was amazing.
Thank you.
Absolutely. We are a subscriber to your YouTube content. We mentioned before that it's done up and put together extremely nicely. Real quick, I think we should share or shout this man out, since we both share his gifts and abilities. We'll shout out Jackson Wallace real quick.
Shout outs to
Absolutely.
Jackson.
You know? But you guys film every job you do?
We do. And back to Jackson for a second. So I called Jackson in November of 2021. I remember I was coming back from DC with my family, and I was like driving home. Everybody was sleeping. I was thinking to myself, like, I was scheming. I was like, all right, this business is going well.
Right.
I was like, to get us to the next level, you know, I believe in this media stuff, you know. And I was
Shout outs. For real.
I was studying YouTube. I was watching podcasts. And I was like, you know what? You know, I have a great friend who does this for a living. So I called him. He picked right up. I think it was a Facebook Messenger call.
Yeah.
Yeah. He picked right
Face to
up.
face.
Yeah. And I was like, dude, here's what I'm thinking. And we spoke for about 45 minutes, and he was pretty down. And at the end of that call, we were like, all right, here, the goal is to get you to a full-time content creator in this business.
Right.
And here's where we're going to start. You know, and on that phone call, we were like, all right, let's do it video by video basis. And we're like, all right, that could work. You know, I'll pay you X amount of dollars per video. That worked for about 2 weeks, and then we're like, all right, I need you every day. You know, and so I was like, all right, here's X amount of cash per week. Right, we're just gonna do it under the table for now, and we're just gonna keep this going.
However, it's got to go.
And then I don't know, a couple months ago, we were like sitting down together, and we're like, let's put you on the books, you know, as the VP of media, you know, the head of this department.
That's what's
That's
up.
awesome.
'Cause
That's awesome.
The kid's got a crazy talent with the editing.
The boy is crazy with it.
with the direction. So that's how we got to this point. And to answer your question, Josh, we film every day. We're also investing heavy in like the future. I mean,
Okay.
so I put Jackson on the mission of studying to become a licensed drone pilot. He spent
next level shit.
He spent 3 months so far studying and
drones?
taking practice tests about
What?
aviation maps and shit.
My man.
We're like, and so all these things behind the scenes, I mean, you know, we're taking to level up.
Okay.
In the media game, because I believe in all this,
In all of
especially
it.
like the drone footage. Like, how cool is that when you can zoom out from a house,
Right.
Absolutely.
see what's around
Right.
it, you know, and
Right.
and show off the
To
landscape.
show off the landscape.
So we're just getting started.
Yo, that
and
made me smile, bro. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
But there's a lot of
It's
behind the
next level
scenes stuff, you
Right,
know.
right, right.
We're like, you know, like, you know, we're looking towards the future. It's like, you know, we're just beginning on this video journey. You know, we've gotten microphones, we've gotten tripods, we've gotten wide angle lenses,
Right.
we've gotten computers, we've gotten lights, we've gotten everything. He's studying photography now, which he knows super well. But I'm like, all right, when these projects finish up, you know, in May, I want these kitchens and bathrooms to look fucking perfect.
Right.
You know,
Yeah,
and I'm challenging you, you know, and he always steps up. So, and while I'm on that note, I just got one more plug to make, which is my right hand man, Jim, Jim Mucci. You know, he started in November.
Shout outs to Jim.
With me as a project manager, and he's like the most loyal, best partner I could ever ask for, you know, and I just don't want to miss the plug, you know what I mean?
Absolutely.
And he's, you know, he's been there, he'll do anything. He's a great craftsman, a great construction manager, a great leader, you know, a great visionary, and like I feel like, you know, he's going to be with me for the next 30. And that's what I say when like about this core. I got Jim, I got Jackson, I got Joey, I got Chris. Like there's like a team of 5 of us.
For sure.
Hope not forgetting anybody. That would suck.
Shout out to the team.
Shout out to the team.
So anyway, that's where we're at.
Yeah,
That's
man.
awesome. Your opinion on your videos that are up so far? How do you feel about them? Doing well?
Yeah, they're doing well. I mean, so the first video that we posted was the gardener video, start to finish. That's that's the most successful one, I think, because we were speaking about, you know, it shows the final product.
That's it.
That was, so when Jackson got hired, that was like the first couple of weeks. We're like, I was like, dude, we got a house that nobody lives in. It's about to launch. Let's get in there quick.
Let's get in there for
and
real.
film this.
Right.
So we had the finished product. After that, it's all been construction shots and progress shots. You know, we're like in the middle of a bathroom video now. We're in the middle of 2 long renovation videos now.
Okay.
That we're cutting down to shorter stuff. But so I'm most proud of the gardener one as far as like being able to show off stuff. But then the Rhinebeck video at Dave's house, it's titled, is like the newest one. And I think the editing on that and the videography on that, the way the movement is around me and my team. Like there's a shot where it starts at my feet, pans up, and I'm like working on a shelf.
Right.
There's also a shot where like, you know, we're looking at an empty wall and then bam, like you see the cabinet right you know,
then
in the
there.
next clip. So to me, it's like, all right, when I saw that, I was like, we're starting to hit our stride. This is starting to look good, and feeling good about it.
No, you good.
All right. Has the exposure of your YouTube content increased sales or helped increase potential clients?
Good question.
I don't think the YouTube yet.
Not yet?
Definitely Instagram.
Okay.
You know,
Nice.
so we have kind of like 2 different avenues with the media. The YouTube, as we speak about, is like the mecca for us. It's like we know it's going to be there forever. We know it's international, you know, and we know, you know, so we kind of, and so we don't put anything on there that's not completely done. Like the Instagram, I'll put up like a few videos a week, like, hey, you know, we just finished the rough plumbing, and it's like 20 seconds long. And it keeps people in the loop, you know.
Yeah.
But the Instagram, I get messages a couple times a week, like, "Hey, I see what you guys are doing. Like, I have a bathroom that I want you to look at, and so forth." So,
have you ever looked into possibly using like TikTok?
Yeah.
Or even Twitter?
No, all that. I mean, we haven't really done it yet. Because as you know, I'm 34, so it's like a generational thing with the TikTok,
for
right?
sure.
So I'm super drawn towards Instagram. I'm super drawn towards YouTube.
Okay.
And
Slightly
it's like
older.
I
That's good.
understand the TikTok, the value of it, but I'm not willing to get involved with it.
Okay. Hey, respect.
So like we've
I'm
had
the same way.
you know,
It's all good. Respect.
So we've had like media meetings where we're like, all right, who's doing TikTok? And like,
Ain't nobody standing
you
up.
know, so and we're like, you know, and we kind of tried a couple weeks ago. We're like, and you know. And my wife Claudia, she's actually really great. She's the one that takes a lot of Jackson's content, packages it, and puts it on Instagram.
Okay.
She's kind of like the final step.
Shout outs.
And she's good at TikTok. She's good at like cutting that. She also knows what goes viral and is really good at
That's it.
you know, she's catching like TikTok's all about like trends.
It is.
So
It is.
it's like, oh, there's this trend this week, and you know, and it's like, or there's this trend, and I'm just not. I got so much on my plate, and I'm just not willing to get involved. But I would love to have somebody on my team get involved.
Okay.
You
So
know?
maybe some point down the line, you'll get somebody who is just really into TikTok and they know how to package it up.
Exactly. And
Okay.
Twitter's a whole other beast in itself. I mean, again, I've tried in the past to create handles and like do our thing. I gain traction in certain things, but it's hard for me to gain traction in Twitter, you know?
Right.
It's a very like witty,
Right.
you know, kind of persistent platform.
Oh, yeah. You have to be on it all day.
All day.
All
and you got to
day.
be firing off a ton of things and beefing with people.
Right.
And I'm game.
Yo, respect.
My man.
respect. Yeah. Yeah.
You know, but I think it's hard, man. I'm not, you know.
Yeah, you don't want to get into the politics. Let's just be honest.
Yeah.
You don't care too much about it.
Or crypto or
Yeah.
something, you know. It's a crazy world out there on Twitter.
It's crazy, bro.
Now, let's talk about the skills and abilities that you possess, all right? Were you taught these? We just chalk it up to, you know, God-given?
Yep.
What,
No, it's a good question. So I grew up in a family business that built custom cabinets.
Okay.
You know, and I come from like a German background. So Germans are known to be builders, you know, like engineers, right?
Right.
You got Mercedes, you got BMW, right? There's some of the finestly built stuff. So I've always heard stories of like my grandfather on my dad's side, like having, you know, building stuff, you know, having like gorgeous gardens and pergolas in his garden, you know, really kind of fine
Right.
craftsmanship and fine detail. And then I worked for my father, you know, throughout high school, throughout college a little bit, and then for like 11 years, and you know, throughout my 20s and into my early 30s, and I think, you know, super high standards at that shop. You know,
Okay.
again, it was like high end cabinetry for New York City folks.
Right.
So I think I was, you know, I think it's in there somewhere, Josh. But I also think I was taught. You know, I think I came up in a setting that was,
right.
you know, that was just high standards, great machinery, you know, good people, and I think that's kind of what got me. So my skills are really in the carpentry, and in the fine woodworking, you know, and the cabinetry, and which is good because that's kind of in my opinion, it's like some of the harder stuff to learn. Like if you start in construction on framing and drywall, I would imagine it would be harder to get to like the fine,
like the
details
right.
of woodworking, unless you're super passionate about it. So that's where I started, and then I like kind of fell in love with like the other stuff. I'm like, I love framing now. Like I love building something, walls, and like creating spaces, you know, that weren't there, and designing spaces. That's really my strength, is designing spaces. Like I can design a kitchen and say, yeah, you want quartz with this cabinet, but when it comes to like, I love taking like an empty room like this and being like, all right, what do you need? Here's how we're going to build it, you know, drawing in the fixtures, and like being a space designer, I think is what my best skill is.
Do you use like a computer, or do you use like I guess pen and paper to like draw out the designs and like figure out like the measurements and everything?
So I use a computer, you know, I draw on a program called SketchUp,
got it.
which is like a CAD-based program.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And
Perfect.
and it's got some cool features like where you can do stuff in 3D. And I've been like, so I started just drawing floor plans and elevations in SketchUp.
Okay.
And then I met this guy on a job, and he was like big into like 3D printing.
Oh, perfect.
And he was like, he had built this like geometric hot tub dome for like his apartment or something. And he's like, dude, you should like draw in 3D, you know? And I was like, yeah, but it's super hard. And he's like, nah, you just gotta like literally just try it. Like YouTube it, figure it out, teach yourself. And that was super encouraging for me.
Okay.
And then the next job that came up, I did just that, and drew it on a floor plan, dragged it up into 3D, started to recess cabinets and play around, and now it's like second nature. So SketchUp is the tool.
Okay.
There's others that you can use that are a little more design friendly, like for kitchens that have like pre-designed stuff.
Right. I was gonna ask if you had to like create elements that didn't exist, like if you wanted to make a very specific type of shape or something. Do you have to create it with SketchUp, or is it already pre-made and you just use pre-made in different ways?
It's a combination. So there's something called in SketchUp. There's something called 3D Warehouse, which has like, you could type in a search box cooktop, and they'll have like 40 cooktops that you can take and insert. It takes a little bit of time to like figure out how to get that to look in your drawing correctly, but it's not hard. So it's a combination of using that warehouse and then sometimes just drawing something from scratch.
Okay, I respect it.
As a businessman, there's always a future plan or blueprint that's being laid out. Now, we did mention and touch on, you're aiming for the future, which we respect and whatnot. But where do you see timber at? Give me a year from now, and then give me maybe 5 years from now.
So last year we did, like I said, mostly it was by myself, right?
Mm-hmm.
Until November when Jim came on. Jim was the first hire. We did like 200,000 in gross sales. So that to me was pretty good for like a one-man show, just as far as gross. I mean, like obviously a ton of that is material and subcontractors and whatnot, but
Still
just
good,
but
bro.
just in the gross.
Right.
This year, I think we'll surpass 1 million.
Shout outs to that.
And then I think, so next year, I think speaking with the team, I think next year would be nice to do like 3.5.
Mm-hmm.
And then maybe in 5 years, I think we could do like 10.
10?
Good for you.
And I think like I say that with like, with humility, because I think we offer a great product. I'm not just trying to like, and to me, it's like, it's not about getting rich or anything like that. It's just about, I love the growth. Like if I could build a great team like I love meeting people and like helping them and like being like, yeah, we can do this and here's how and here's the proposal. And I love that aspect of the business. So I'm ambitious when it comes to that. And I think that separates me from a lot of guys who are like, oh, that's crazy. How are you going to handle that? But I think we got a real shot. We have a great brand, people love timber, and they love what we offer, and they love the behind the scenes. A lot of people have told me, look, we picked you because we know what you guys are doing. We know you're doing it.
Right. They want that quality.
And so and like I said, I mean, we get a lot of, we get a lot of volume that I turn down because I don't get like a great sense or the budget's too tight or like we haven't dabbled too much into new construction yet. We have about 2 projects in new construction that are kind of in-house. If that took off, that like a new home could be like $1 million, right? Whereas like a rental could be like 100,000. So if we're talking gross, and as far as in growth, I think once you get into some new construction, that could really elevate quickly. But I think there's also a cap on it. You know what I mean? Like I don't know if we want to. I don't know at what point do you kind of just become too big and you start to lose control. You know? So I think that would be the benchmark for me. Is like, all right, we're doing well. We have a great team, but like once it starts to go haywire and you lose quality, then we got to watch ourselves.
Smart.
Do you see yourself stepping back and saying, hey, we need to expand, we need to train up somebody if it does start to spiral out of control? Or would you be more conservative and just pull back all the way and reassess everything?
I think the answer to that question changes for me as time goes on. Like
That's good.
Like for example, a few months ago I would have said I could have 10 employees and I was heading towards that. I had calls out there. I had offer letters out there. I was ready. I've been recruiting hard, and kind of knowing what wave was coming. But then I had like some bad things happen with these employees. A couple guys had to let go, and I was like, damn, maybe we can do this differently. Again, keep the team together that we have, and then just build great relationships with other teams. And I think at the moment, that's my strategy.
All right. So more so when you mean other teams like subcontractors and stuff like that?
Like there's one right now who's got he's got his own team of 8. And he's doing like big portions of our renos. You know what I mean? Like we're almost like transitioning at some portions of the business to like just construction management. Again, like we have great project managers, who can lead, but we don't need to do everything. Single thing, right? But that particular team has the manpower to crush it, as long as we're managing it correctly. So that's Tim at the moment, kind of I think where I want to head, just based on kind of being soured by like in-house employees.
That's what's up. Did it feel bad to like let these people go? Was it like a big like thing, or is it like, all right, bro, you gotta go?
Felt so good, bro.
It felt good. There you go.
Like
there's nothing wrong with it.
Like at that point, I was like so ready.
All right, get him out of here.
And it's like, nah.
He's honest.
Yeah, he's honest. I love it.
No, look, it's not in my nature to be confrontational or to be a dick, But I think when someone, I have a family. I got a wife. I got 2 kids. So and I got bills. Like, so when someone starts to fuck with that, you're like, yo, you gotta go.
Right.
Absolutely.
Like you're done, and it's quick for me now.
It's real quick. ASAP. Get them out of here. There's nothing wrong with it, man. Nothing wrong with it.
Just send the boys and take him out of here.
Take him out of here. Yeah, just carry him out by his feet. Let's go.
I think sometimes the most challenging aspect of the whole thing comes down to almost like a personal decision of when it comes to having a set team, set core, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
Keeping it small, because I always think and I've always said that, like, small businesses, when things are close and tight knit, things run a lot more smooth.
They do.
You don't have to deal with all the bullshit.
And the communication's good too.
But with growth and whatnot, when businesses grow, you make more money, which is great, right? But then you have to add on these more, like, your team. You got to expand your team, which then that's where I think the personal decision comes in. Is what do you care about more?
Yep.
Is it the value, or are you cool with keeping it somewhat small but still growing for sure?
Right.
But knowing that you got a solid ass team that we're gonna crush everything, and I don't care about the extra money, because we'll kill every job. You know what I'm saying?
No, and you nailed it, bro. I mean, basically, I could take on way more work and take on way more risk and hire a bunch of more people that I don't know, like like that plumber's there, right? But dude, that could go bad quick. You know what I mean? And it's
Absolutely.
like I don't value what I really value is like what I have right now, which is like my family, home, and my bills are paid. Like I don't need much else. Like I value the growth. I'm like a growth addict. Like I like seeing timber. I want to see timber blow up, but it's not about the money. It's just about.
Well, you're gonna get all of that when it blows up, bro.
I tell myself that
let's
too.
Let's just be honest. Yeah, it's gonna happen.
I mean, but I tell myself that that my time will come. But I think I'm very cautious. Like I value like mental health.
That's what's
like a good night's sleep, and like I don't want to put myself in a spot where like I'm stressed out or like spread too thin. So I think it's like that's the ultimate balance, is finding a way to grow and in a company without like going nuts and like losing control of everything.
Right.
And I'm learning a lot on the fly here.
Absolutely. Talk to me about HGTV.
Yeah, so I mean obviously we're putting out, so we don't have any offers on the table per se. I'll start with that. But we are putting out a ton of content. Right? We love to create and show the world what we're doing. So we've gotten a couple calls in the last couple weeks regarding networks. And they put that word out there, HGTV and Magnolia Network.
Right.
As kind of like, we can get you on that. And so I'll give you 2 examples. So like we got one call, and they're mostly like California based people, right? That's where the production is happening, right? So we got one call a couple weeks ago about a woman who wanted to put us on a network. That was kind of a smaller app-based network. Okay. That was like, look, we sign 90 to 120-day deals. That we love your content, and we need you to kind of get little bit longer episodes, and we think that this could do XYZ for you, and then you're gonna kind of gain some exposure and potentially and we have connections with those channels, right? So. But it was like, we saw through that deal right away. Right. It was basically like, you do everything, you produce it, and then you find the advertisers for now. And it was like, and then you give us a cut. And like, we
give them a cut.
Right. And what they brought to the table in that case was basically subscribers to their own stuff.
You could do it yourself.
You could do it yourself, right? So then but that was like 2 weeks ago. About a week ago, I was in touch with a fellow out in LA who I've known for a long time, who said, damn, love your content, and the people around me love your content. And he's basically he finds talent. I don't know if you know the podcast Call Her Daddy. It's with a couple girls that from New York City or whatever that like blew up. They're like, they just signed with Spotify.
Oh, okay. That's what's up.
But he's the fellow who founded that. It was his idea.
Okay.
So he's got a real eye for talent. So basically, what we're in the process of now is coming up with like a promo video to send to him and his team just to see
what
what's
they like.
what, you know,
Right.
and the terms of the deal are like way down the road.
Okay.
But we're definitely, you know, I love creating content. I think just because I do, you know, the TV and network thing, I can't say no to it. You know, you can't be like, nah, we're not interested.
Right.
But it's not something that we're seeking out hard.
Okay.
You know, so if
oh, my bad to cut you
you're
off. I was
good.
going to say, as you get better in Instagram and YouTube, it's going to be more. They're going to get
Right.
more offers.
right,
Yeah.
and we're anticipating that. You
Okay.
know,
The right one will come.
Yeah. Right.
Eventually.
Right.
Yep.
You know.
So we'll see. On that note, I got something for you guys. Hold on one second.
Oh, okay.
I know we're always talking about media and stuff and marketing, so
Damn.
brought a couple things for you guys.
Damn. He brought it. He brought the gear.
Let's see, we got one here. One for Josh. This is a Timber hoodie.
Yo,
The
I
timber hoodie?
appreciate that.
Damn, that's
my
tight.
man.
And then we got one for Tim here.
Damn, shout outs. Thank you, brother.
Yeah,
That's
that's
beautiful.
just a way to show my appreciation.
Yeah.
That's beautiful.
Timber
bro.
design and build hoodies.
I
And on the
appreciate
back,
that,
on the
man.
back, that's my favorite part. The back hip, you got a little.
There you go.
Yeah,
Damn, on the back.
Hell yeah.
yeah. So
This man put the design at the back hip. Who's doing that? Next level.
Yeah, no, I appreciate
Yeah,
that,
man,
bro.
just-
Thank you so
I
much.
appreciate you
man.
having me
Appreciate
on, and I figured, you know what? Let me come bless them with some merch.
Damn,
you know,
we have to put this on
and,
for the picture.
Absolutely, man.
real.
Man, that almost makes us look bad, but I had always said too, I was always trying to get some, I always thought it would be dope, you know what I'm saying, to see our logo or whatnot. It's all relative on a t-shirt
For
or,
real. Yeah, man.
or a hoodie, but I really appreciate that,
Thank
bro.
you.
Thank you.
Thank you a lot.
Dude, I'm so grateful to be here.
For real.
And marketing is fun for me. You know what I mean? Like people, you know, I spend more on gear, website,
Right.
videos
Right.
than I think anybody would.
But you said before
Right.
it's an investment, though.
Yeah, no, it is.
It's an investment in the future. You
In
good.
the future, yeah.
You
So,
made us happy.
I'm happy. I'm happy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, shit, bro. I'm super impressed with everything that I've seen. You know, I'm very confident that you and your team, you know, are gonna do big things.
Thank
you
you,
know
Josh.
what I'm
Thank you.
saying? The business is definitely gonna continue to grow. Let's remind everyone, if you're looking or interested in having home renovations done, contact Jeff, contact Timber. Let them build you something that you will love. You want to touch anything on about the YouTube content?
Oh, so
You got-
as far as the YouTube content, Jackson is on point.
Yep.
That's all I need
Thank
to
you.
say. Don't change anything because I would say make some of them a little bit longer,
Yep,
but
yep.
don't change anything. Like as far
Wow.
as like the angles and everything, because it's definitely something that I haven't seen. I've seen a lot of older shots of like older videos. They do like the renovation videos almost like, you know, we're watching like CBS or HGTV.
Right.
But you have like something going that is a little bit more modern. You know what I mean? We're millennials, so it's content for us. You know what I mean? Like
Yep.
I have no knowledge of housing and all that stuff, but I felt compelled to watch it. And if you got that, you're gonna do well on YouTube.
Thank you, Tim.
For sure.
That means the world,
For
dude,
sure.
coming from you.
Yeah, thanks.
And that's really
And that's no problem, brother.
Yeah, and we'll continue that conversation. And I
Mm-hmm.
think that's the thing. I mean, those older shows is like picture perfect, like
Picture
staged
perfect.
in the
Right,
kitchen,
right.
and we're out here like a young team,
Right.
hungry in
Yeah,
the Catskills,
hustling.
like just showing. You know, we're not perfect, you
No.
know, and we're just showing who we are. And I think
Mhm.
it is a fresh look. So I'm happy that you feel that way because
Right.
we feel the same way.
Right.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Before we go, we just got a few more questions for you, Jeff, so the fans can get a little insight on you.
Yep.
These ones are going to be a little more personal, but like I said, you can, whatever first thing that comes to your mind, all
Sure.
right? They're
Yep.
a little easy, but general questions. Give us 3 of your favorite musical artists that you're listening to right now.
So right now, I've been bumping a lot of Kid Rock lately.
Okay.
Okay.
Respect.
Something I've been going to the gym a lot, so like he's
Good
got
for
some
you.
he's got some
Yeah.
hard rock tunes that
Yeah,
I've
he
been
does.
vibing to. I did play some Nipsey Hussle the other day at work.
Wow, Nipsey Hussle.
So always paying respect to him.
Rest in peace.
Absolutely.
And then honestly, this morning at the house, I was bumping Ray Charles with the family.
Ray
Nice.
Charles. Okay.
Hit the Road Jack was on there and some of his classics. I'm pretty all over the place. I think But those three have been on the playlist lately.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Give me 3 of your favorite athletes.
Favorite athletes? I mean, I what comes to mind first is Kobe. You know, I actually
Shout-outs.
didn't like Kobe when he was like playing, like because he was just like crushing everybody and crushing the Knicks. And
I'm the same way. I was the same way.
but I was like, I hated him. And then like later in his career, I started to love him. And then when he passed, I was like super
You
devastated.
devastated, yep.
I think LeBron, I respect him so much. Like he's another guy that I don't compare myself to him, but I do in one aspect, which is like the building of a team.
Interesting.
Like he puts his people on.
Right.
Like his people by him are as successful as him.
Right.
You know what I
Entourage.
mean?
Yep.
The entourage.
They were all his people. That's the one thing
Yeah.
that I do respect about LeBron, because we have touched on
We've
this
touched on it
before. I
many
do have
times.
my opinions about LeBron.
Are they not good?
Oh man, this shit can get long. I'll quickly say I'm not disrespecting his talent. He's a hell of a player.
Right.
You know, he's amazing. But there's certain things. I mean, I think he's a little whiny sometimes.
be.
You know
He
what
can
I'm
be.
saying? My biggest beef with him was because I've been a Knicks fan forever. I've since the beginning.
Yep.
So I've felt pain every year. You know what I'm saying? And there was a point in time when LeBron could have come to New York. He always claims to be the king and whatnot, right?
Right.
What better way to come to New York, play for the Knicks, and like
Become king of New York.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yo, you would be God. You know what I'm saying? And I feel like takes a certain kind of player to
Yep.
play in New York, and I don't think he had it. You
Yeah.
know what I'm saying?
Right.
It was
No.
too much for him. And I'm not disrespecting any of his talent. Like I said, he's amazing, an amazing player. I mean, I remember when he came out of high school, you know, like
Yep.
everything about him. He's a human record breaker. You know what I'm
He
saying?
really
A
is.
walking record breaker, excuse me.
Yep.
But no,
No, it's
I mean,
a fair point. It's a fair point.
I mean, but
The Knicks, they couldn't land that one superstar to come and save them. You know, they just
It
couldn't.
happens, bro. It happens.
You know, but
I hoped when Carmelo came, I thought that was it, man. 'Cause
Yeah.
I'm a big Melo
Melo
fan.
fan.
Though.
yeah.
But give me one more favorite athlete.
I mean, you know, so I haven't watched sports in a couple years because when I moved into my new house, I didn't get cable. You know, that's where all
Yeah.
the sports is
Oh,
on.
yeah,
So
for
I've
sure.
only been streaming stuff. So I'm a little bit out of touch. But believe it or not, I'll just stay with the GOATs right now, because I used to hate Tom Brady too, and now I'm like,
Shout out to Tom Brady.
and now I'm like, I like this man.
He's a hero.
And like he's super competitive. He's a winner. And I went from hating him to liking him and rooting for him, which is crazy.
Bro, we're so similar too. 'Cause, I mean, we talked about this too because we
did.
had talked about Tom Brady. We actually addressed we were trying to figure out, is he the GOAT? Like legitly,
Yep.
is he the GOAT?
Right.
We also did touch on his retirement and whatnot, which he did announce that he is coming back.
Yep.
After 2 months
Right.
of retirement.
That's quick.
So
Grand opening,
super
grand
quick.
closing.
But he is, and you want to know why? Let me ask you: are you football? If you had to pick, are you a Giants
Yeah,
fan?
I am.
Okay, as am I.
Yep.
So this is what I always think, because Tom Brady killed everybody, murdered everyone for years.
Flattened
but like
them
we
all.
always say,
Right.
he couldn't do it twice against our Giants, which was awesome. So like
Unforgettable.
he never really. It wasn't like he was ruining shit for me.
Right.
You know what I'm
Right,
saying?
right.
So, and I think
Good
what he's
point.
doing and did is amazing. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
40.
Yeah. I think he's like 46.
Yeah, 46. He's so
Bro,
crazy.
crazy
That's
number.
old for football.
But coming back for one more year,
Yep.
we'll see what happens with that. But
Yeah, yep.
all right, let's move on real quick. Give me one of your favorite movies.
Favorite movies. I mean, what stands out, you know, is like The Gladiator.
Okay.
I like that.
Respect.
It gives me the chills.
Nice.
I love like the story of
Right.
like, you know, him getting beaten down and then
Of
just
course.
whooping ass
Right,
and like
right.
and eventually killing the emperor.
You see a little
So-
bit of yourself in him?
And I mean, I would like to think so.
My
Okay, you're a
man.
fighter.
You know, but
Yeah.
I don't know, you know, that's a certain level
Right.
of toughness.
Right.
Where you're like taking on like multiple dudes at once and armies and whatnot. But, you know, so I don't really compare
Fight them all.
myself, but I just think I could watch it over and over again, you know.
Yeah, that was a
What
hell
about
of a
you?
movie.
What's your favorite?
Oh man, one of my favorite movies ever. Off the top of my head, I would say I'm a huge Goodfellas fan.
Yep.
Got it.
That one is for sure up there. I can't really.
Yeah, the mob movies are great.
I love that. I'm actually a huge fan too. I always say, The Town. I'm a
The
big,
Town.
Great movie. I
Yeah,
love Ben Affleck. I really do.
and I believe that was his first movie that he directed too, which I thought he did a hell of a job
Nice.
too.
He's
And
talented.
the movie was sick. So,
That's what's
but
up.
I agree.
yeah.
Love that.
So then let's just go around the table real
For
quick.
sure.
Tim, give me one of your favorite.
I give you
movies.
2. Enter the Dragon,
Mhm.
because that's always the favorite. Bruce Lee is the best.
Yep.
And American Gangster. American Gangster is amazing. I just like the hustle story about it all. And
Denzel, right?
Denzel,
Yeah.
yeah. And him just running his city and, and then The Fall and then everything that came after it. So I like that. And then on top of that, just Enter the Dragon. I can watch that just every day, all day. Just watching Bruce Lee whoop everybody's ass.
I've honestly never seen it. I got to go home and watch that
Bro,
tonight.
watch it. That's
Yeah.
like just before he passed, rest in peace. I wasn't even born. You weren't born. He wasn't born.
Yep.
But it's something about that movie that's magical where it elevated him to stardom after the fact that he passed.
Wow.
And he was just on his A game as far as martial arts.
Yep.
Yeah. So
I'll check it out.
Give it a shot.
For sure.
Yeah.
Into the Dragon.
Yes, sir.
All right, give me a favorite TV show.
Favorite TV show? Again, I don't have cable right now. So it's been a couple years since I was watching TV, but gosh, it's hard for me to say. I'm not a big TV show guy. I'm really like into podcasts.
Okay,
Give us
that's
a
cool.
podcast.
I love the Impulsive Boys.
Okay.
Okay.
Logan Paul, Mike Malak,
All right.
and George Janko on there. And I love the Full Send podcast with the Nelk Boys. They just
Okay.
had Trump on and got pulled off YouTube. Did you guys see that?
No, I did not.
No.
Which is a big deal in a way,
Interesting.
only because like there's a whole question around free speech.
Right.
And like that and what the tech platforms are doing.
They're
you
trying
know,
to stifle it.
They're trying to stifle it, when it comes to like certain artists and certain and Trump had mentioned some election fraud things, like you can't let that go, right?
Yeah,
and
Trump's gonna be Trump.
and they just yanked
they
it.
just yanked it.
And it's just like,
No talk about that here.
but that was on
Yeah.
Full Send. I don't know. So that's 2 of them I like,
Right.
but yeah.
Hold on, let me pause for one quick second. The side piece.
Yeah.
Logan Paul. Do you think he's a good boxer or not?
I think he's a good athlete.
A good athlete. Let's
His
say that.
brother's a good boxer.
His brother's a good boxer.
Jake Paul's a wicked good boxer.
Okay.
Dude. He's knocking dudes out cold.
See?
Like he knocked out Tyron Woodley.
Tyron Woodley. Yeah.
I mean, we covered both
Both
of
of
those fight, and like
them
we
out.
said, if you listen to the progression of how when we've talked about this, first off, I went from not even knowing who the hell he was,
Right.
either of these two kids, and then all of a
Shout-outs.
sudden, that like every time it was like, oh, this Paul brother gonna fight this person, I was like, oh man, I hope that other person whoops that
Whoop his
dude's
ass.
ass,
Right?
Fight after fight after fight, and then
Whooping
now,
everybody's ass.
shit, I would go if any one of them Paul brothers are going to be fighting, I guess I'm putting my money, I guess, on them because
Yep.
nobody's been able to knock them out.
For
You know
real.
what I'm saying? So I'm gonna
real.
just go with them. Plus, they really killed it and nailed it. You wanna model something and figure out how to get you out there using social media.
For real.
100,000%.
Straight out of YouTube.
Killed it. You
Yeah.
hate them or love them,
Straight out of
talk your
YouTube.
shit, whatever. Like they whatever. They fucking killed that.
killed it, yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
And they're honestly, when it comes to media, they're like a bit of a role model.
They kind of are.
I'm like, you guys create your own lane,
Mm-hmm.
your own platforms, and I agree. I
Yeah.
mean, they're
Right.
doing it big, man.
All right. If you could live anywhere in the world, where would it be?
It's a good question. I mean, I do love New York.
Okay.
I love the Hudson Valley. I've been to a few countries. I can't say any of which like I would want to just get up and move to.
Right.
So I think it's right here.
My man.
Yeah.
Shout outs.
Home is home.
Yeah.
You
Hudson
know what I'm
Valley.
saying?
Yes, sir.
All right, last one. If you could leave any words of advice to the world, to maybe a younger person who may look up to you, what would it be?
Well, I mean, my MO at the moment with this company and this team is like trying to make a social impact, I think, like, and bring people up in a healthy environment.
Okay.
Over, like I said, I value that over the dollar. So when I see somebody in need, or like I don't feel like someone's being treated fairly, like at another company, and I think they're talented, like I'll try and grab them, offer them more money, and like at the cost of my own money. Like, so I would just say, if you want to be successful, you know, don't be greedy.
For real.
You know, and like spread love in a way that is like not critical, and try and see people come up around you. That's what I want, and it's working well.
Yeah,
so,
come up together.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
Right.
Shit, we got a real one here for real. Ladies and gentlemen, take notice for real. So,
thank you, Josh.
Jeff, we appreciate you coming on It's All Relative.
That we do.
Thank you so much, man. We appreciate the hoodies.
I had a blast.
It's super dope, bro.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Obviously Timber, but anyone or anything else you want to shout out?
I mean, just our Instagram at Timber Design Build, you know, is doing well. Some great content on there. A lot of updates, merch giveaways. Our YouTube channel, The Timber Team, you know, a lot more to come there. We got some really great renos wrapping up. So subscribe to that. That's huge. We're really trying to grow that platform.
For real.
Would appreciate that.
Subscribe.
My personal page is kind of coming up too. I'm trying to grow the personal brand, which I think, you know, talk about branding. You know, like you look at someone like Dana White.
Right.
You know, he's
big.
He grew the UFC, but he also simultaneously is doing his own thing.
Right.
So I'm like, you know what? Let me go and start doing my own thing too. You know, because I think it's an important aspect. You know, like for brand growth.
Right.
So Timber Jeff, TMBR Jeff on Instagram. Yeah, check us out.
Absolutely. Fans, look them up, subscribe to all their channels, show them that love. Tim, hit us with your social.
So for that, we're going to start with YouTube first, but it's Show Retro, SHORETRO. And then for Twitter, it is Retro Show in reverse. RETROSHO.
You guys can always find me at Josh_Toth3. That's my Instagram.
Mm-hmm.
My Facebook is Joshua Toth. The message options on all our platforms, whether audio or typed. Tim, talk
Yes,
to
sir.
him one last time.
So final time, you guys press that message button on Anchor. If you press the message button, you will be able to leave a voicemail message. Leave it 30 seconds, 45 seconds, a minute if you want to. But drop a message, ask some questions. You can ask about Timber Team. You know you want to talk about Timber Team. You want to know what's going on. So you can ask a question. You can leave us any comments, any feedback. You can ask even more questions. This man will answer you. We will answer you. Josh got you. But and if you do, we will at least bring it in onto the next episode. We'll have it recorded. It'll be answered live. We may have to call this man on for some voicemail message, right?
Anytime.
To respond. So yeah, leave a message. Let us know what's going on. Also, shout outs to everybody that's listening. You're all beautiful.
Yeah, thank you. Big shout out to Stellar Sound and Media and our editor, Jackson Wallace.
Shout outs.
Shout.
Reminder, you guys can find us on Apple, Spotify, Anchor, YouTube, and Google. Help support the podcast. Leave some reviews. Leave a rating. 5-star preferred.
Please. Bless it.
All right, that's a wrap. Jeff, thanks again, bro.
Thank you, boys.
Appreciate
It's been a pleasure.
No, it's been a real pleasure, bro.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
All right, everyone, stay safe, stay kind, stay proud and powerful, and we'll see everyone soon. Peace.
Peace out.